Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Avini Vibes, where everything vibes in a positive way. Tonight is March 21st, 2024. I see Bill waving, which is awesome. So nice to see your familiar faces joining us, taking the time this evening. Just a couple of housekeeping. I hate that word rules. I don't like rules, but housekeeping guidelines, how's that? We'll make no medical health claims, okay? So we don't make medical health claims here at Avini Vibes. We are here to share, encourage, learn, teach, edify, and build community together. So supporting one another through this amazing company, Avini Health and Wellness. We're here to strive together for, as Chip Littlejohn, our always resident, I call him Dr. Chip in the house, always is there to say a better you or a younger you. So thank you for being with us. Again, if you'll just mute yourself, that'll be great. If you have a question, when we get to that, you can raise your hand. I do want to let you know that tonight there will be a another cool call at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And that will be with Diamond Apprentice Tony Abetta and also a professional bodybuilder, Diamond Lisa Stowers at 9 p.m. So if you had more energy after this call, which I know you will, stay up at 9 p.m. and get on that, because it's going to be tips about, I'm sure, some plus hydration and getting your body to work at a peak performance. So again, if you just joined the call, tune in at 9 p.m. tonight. And I did put that in the chat. I'm Christine Rolando. I have to thank Carol Witt for always being here. Carol, couldn't do it without her. Carol, thank you for being so diligent and joining us. We'll get started in a minute. I had to just share a quick story. I had to take my husband Craig into NYU Medical Center today. We live about 40 miles out of New York State, but it took us 2.5 hours to get there. Guess why? There's a lot of volume and there's a lot of people on bicycles, and going through the Lincoln Tunnel is no fun. We were there, just got home around almost 6 o'clock tonight, but it was quite the journey. And I want to share with you that there is hope for the future of what's called neuropathy and no movement of a left arm. So really appreciated the surgeon that we met with today. So not out of the woods yet, but Avini is a big part of that. Avini's been with Craig in our journey, and his having my little black battle bag. I call it the battle bag. Had this little battle bag everywhere we go, and always fill with my Avini products to help anyone in need. So with that, tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. Tonight we are going to share some recorded testimonials because they're just so powerful. And perhaps you've seen it, and I did see one before, but listening to it again a second time just really blew me out of the woods to think about, wow, how powerful these products are. So I want you to really listen in, don't miss it, because Carol's gonna come forward and share. First one, Brianna is going to share with her story. This is a mom with 4 children, and she had a really interesting and powerful story. So Carol, no further ado, would you mind sharing Brianna's
Here we
story?
go.
Thank you.
Tell me when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen, but no video yet.
Here it comes.
There we go. Thank
There
you.
we go. All right. There we go. 1 second here. There we go.
This is Brianna McCandless. I am a wife and a mom of 4. Several years ago, I had noticed some things changing in my body, which were a little bit alarming. I ended up starting to lose my hair, and it wasn't just a little bit of hair loss. It was a whole lot of hair loss. I ended up losing over 80%.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's try this again. It quit playing. So hold on. We've got to re-cue it, I think. Hold on 1 second. Let me see what I need to do. Okay. Let's, I'm going to have to refresh it. Hold on.
All right, here we go. We'll try it again.
Okay, here we go. One more time.
Hi, my name is Brianna McCandless. I am a wife and a mom of 4. Several years ago, I had noticed some things changing in my body, which were a little bit alarming. I ended up starting to lose my hair, and it wasn't just a little bit of hair loss, it was a whole lot of hair loss. I ended up losing over 80% of my hair. And I started to notice some other things that I was having a hard time with. My gut would hurt anytime I ate anything. I had really struggled trying to just finish my sentences, remembering people's names. It was so embarrassing. Even my husband and other people were noticing that my brain fog was so bad. My kids noticed. I wasn't able to get out of bed unless I set my alarm about an hour before I was due to get out of bed, just because I was so exhausted all the time. I went to multiple doctors trying to figure out what was wrong, because I felt like something was just really wrong with my body. And they kept saying, well, it could be postpartum hair loss, or you're tired because you've got twins. And I thought, I've been a mom before. I know what postpartum hair loss and losing 80% of your hair is not it. And I know that I've got 4 kids, and I know that I'm tired, but this is beyond being tired. On top of that, every single time I got up during the day, my whole body hurt. From my head to my toes, my joints hurt. And I'm not very old. I shouldn't be experiencing extreme joint pain. I didn't really feel like that was normal. I had all of these different tests done. They tested my thyroid. They would do different blood panels. And every time they would come back and they would say, oh, everything looks normal. You're probably just tired. But that really wasn't good enough for me. So I kept going, and I found a doctor who finally said, have you ever had an inflammation panel done? I said, I've done all these tests, but I have not had an inflammation panel done. So let's do it. And when I got my inflammation panel back, I found out that I had some autoimmune issues that they had discovered in my testing. They also found out that the inflammation levels in my body were so high that they couldn't give me a number. The test only went up to 600, and my levels were off the charts. And so I was super excited, which is kind of a really weird way to act. But I thought, awesome, we know what's wrong with me, so let's fix it. We can fix it and make it go away. And they said, well, these things that we found are things that you're going to struggle with your whole life. We can kind of treat the symptoms, but you're always going to have flare-ups, and this is just what your life's going to be. That also was not good enough for me. So I started going through the protocols with different antibiotics, different IV therapies, changing my diet. I did all the things. And although it took some of those symptoms away, I was still left not feeling 100% myself. And I was also left in a lot of debt. About 6 months after I finished up with my IV therapies, I started to have flare-ups again, just like I had never done anything before. And they said, well, you got to come in for another round. And with having 4 kids going into IV therapy twice a week for 3 hours and sitting there and finding a babysitter twice a week for 6 weeks is a little bit of a struggle. So someone, actually one of my neighbors, introduced me to Avini. And I thought, there's no way that this special rock juice or whatever they're trying to sell me is going to work. But I thought, well, okay, think about this. It's a lot less expensive than my IV therapy. And you know what? There's a money back guarantee. So I'm going to give it a shot. So the first week I started taking it, I was pretty faithful and I didn't notice anything and I was really discouraged. But the second week I was able to get out of bed without setting an alarm, and I didn't need a nap. And that was huge for me because normally I had to have a nap in the middle of the day. Then I noticed that my gut issues started to go away. Then I noticed that my memory started to come back, and I was remembering people's names and why I was talking to them. And I just thought, what is this stuff I'm taking? This is insane. And then all these things that I was dealing with from my bloating, and my hair started growing back. All of this is mine. I don't have to wear wigs anymore, which has been phenomenal. My skin cleared up, and my joints stopped aching, and all these things that I was struggling with anxiety and depression, it started to lift, and I felt like I was coming out of this fog. And I'm happy to say that I have been using Avini products since I think it's May of last year. I'm off all the medications that I was previously put on. I have not had any flare-ups since I started taking them, and I have my life back. And it's all because of a little bottle and someone that was kind enough to share the message of Avini with me. And so I get to be with my kids, and I get to be the mom that they deserve. And I'm thankful for what Avini's done in my life.
Wow.
Wow, that's powerful. Very, very powerful. For goodness gracious, you realize how much people can, deal with all the things she came in contact with, medical debt, 4 children, baby. Oh, Bill's got his little bottle. Who knows that one of our neighbors might be in need of that little bottle. So she's, sometimes she said she was so happy when she wanted to know, because she knew, although she was loaded with inflammation. Chip, what are your thoughts on what she was dealing with and how?
Well, the rest of the story. Her husband had a near fatal car wreck about the same time frame that you guys ran on. And this has been very important for them. She said it was her neighbor. It just so happens Thane Shively, little town in Idaho, lives about a block away. And just noticed that there was a mom that was struggling. Struck up a conversation, and then she just told you that story. From that, Thane had a little boy that was developmentally delayed. His name's Carter. Now brilliant and personable, then couldn't stay in school. And from that came, through her that you just heard from, Brianna McCandless, came the Artist and Alexa story, which is one of the most incredible, difficult 6-year-olds that was angry, developmentally impaired outburst. They had kicked him out of all the schools, all the social programs, and told her next time he has trouble, just call 911 because nobody else will deal with it. His 2 sisters were going to be taken out of the home. Older sisters, because he was dangerous to them. And I just, these things they don't just come around once. On the call with us now is somebody that started this week a story very similar to that one. And you can tell that as it happens. I mean, I think it is going to happen. So it's really important. I mean, you hear these stories and you think, oh, wow, that's incredible. That probably only happens once. No, the first one only happens once. And I actually think I kind of maybe said the wrong thing about an hour ago. And Alan and I were working on, and somebody said, well, if this is true, why don't all the doctors know about it? Well, have you guys noticed how many doctors we're working with lately? I mean, how many medical professionals are here? I mean, it's not that no doctors know about it. It's just that apparently the ones that they're working with don't know about it. It's and maybe I should have given another 10 minutes to think about something. Sometimes you come up with a better answer. And I always used to joke about the kids. The kids have 24 hours to come up with something to throw at you, and you got 2 seconds to respond perfectly. It's kind of like that on these calls sometimes. But for the next one, do you like that? There's a lot of medical people that are learning, but not everybody knows yet.
Yeah.
I think that's a better answer than, trying to be defensive. It's not that there aren't any. There are a lot of them, but not everybody knows yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have through, she's on tonight, but there's a gal that comes on. I call her Remarkable Amy because I wish she was on to tell this story, but she shared Avini Cell Defender with a doctor. He's a pediatric cardiac doctor. He used to live in our neighborhood, Delta. He lived up in he worked out of Middletown. He's out on the West Coast. So we did that three-way with Doug Dickey, and you know, he's heavy involved because he deals with so many of his patients on the spectrum. And so, yeah, so I know my doctor knows about it now. I'm educating him. So we all are doing that, but that was a powerful story, Chip. But I like what you said. It was, you know, it was Thane giving it to,
Yeah.
sharing it with Brianna, and Brianna sharing it with Artist Mom, and you just never know who you're going to impact, right? You just never know.
And
Big-
you don't know who's listening. The first time I went over and worked with them, they'd had a Denny's that had been shut down since all the trouble started, and they had trouble getting a crew back. And we put on a little presentation for them. Well, the woman who was so nice to prepare everything, make sure there was a staff, we noticed that she was standing, you know, at the kitchen door listening. Turned out her daughter was in the same situation, and so she approached them and said, okay. And actually, Artist and Alexa came to that meeting, and that was his first time coming out in public. Those kids, oftentimes, them and their caregiver disappear because they can't go out without outburst. And so she saw that, and she saw, you know, the mom and the dad, and heard the story from them. Well, that's pretty compelling. And she said, I'm a mom of this in the same situation, and approach them. But so it finds its way. I mean, sometimes it feels like Avini's finding its way slowly, and then all of a sudden it'll kind of leap ahead. And I know we have, you know, a lot of brilliant people from different persuasions that come to Avini Vibes, and it's, you know, I really enjoy coming to this group. So yeah, those are some thoughts about. I happen to know them really well, and that helps. You know, I mean, I've been there, part of the story, and been with them, and I've seen her stack of wigs that, you know, she one wig after another, and she's a pretty good little storyteller.
My goodness. Yeah, like the things that you never know, and something creeps up on you and you don't know what it is, and you just want to find out. Like Craig today, when his the surgeon said to this new surgeon at NYU, said to him, I think it could be this, an entrapped nerve, because that's why your arm's not moving. You know, we've been to 6 or 7 different people. So when you get that little bit of hope, you know, that's what we have in that bottle that Bill Spence was just putting up to his mouth. It's hope. It's a little bit of hope, but then it really comes to fruition. So it's amazing. So Carol, you want to go ahead and we'll share the next one? Thank you, Bill.
Yes.
This is one that Hannah shared with me today. Her husband, I guess they're British, Susie Francis.
They are.
Husband, and I love their accent, but listen to her story. We're going to listen to her next.
Okay, here we go. Okay, tell me when you can see.
We can see.
All right,
We can
here we
see.
go.
I don't know if you can make it full screen.
I can.
Yeah, better.
My name is Adrian Francis, and I'm here with my lovely wife, Susie.
Hello.
We'd like to share with you our story of Avini so far. So back in 2022 December, my lovely wife here, Susie, was in hospital with a ruptured gallbladder. It was touch and go whether you was going to survive.
Yeah, I was very poorly.
In and out of hospital, what, 9 times?
I was in 9 times with peritonitis and septicemia.
So yes, it wasn't a very pleasant time. And then about 6 months later, they decided to remove your gallbladder.
Basically, I took a 10-foot worsening. I was very sick. Yeah.
So they removed your gallbladder, and then a couple of days later, you was allowed out of hospital.
Yeah, about a week later, I went out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you was back at home. What challenges did you have after that?
So they said to me that you would automatically get better, you know, week by week, but I tended to get sicker. I was in bed a week and a half after coming out of hospital, extremely sick, couldn't keep fluid down, stomach cramps, sickness, all the things that should have corrected itself.
So what was you given to take by the doctors
So my normal doctor, not the surgeon, my normal doctor said I'd developed BAM, which is where the toxins come out of my liver and it's reabsorbed back through my gut and colon. So it was basically killing me with toxins.
So that was bile, was it?
Yes, it was
So it's
bile absorption.
And we're not doctors, are we?
No,
No.
no.
So this product they gave you, what did that do to you?
So the conventional sachet that they gave me was had a lot of side effects: cancer, hair loss, stomach problems, gut problems, bathroom problems, all the things that we're trying to get over with the surgery and the BAM.
So these you found out about that when you read the instructions in the box of these sachets, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you weren't very happy about taking those,
No.
were you?
No.
So what happened then is that my friend Dave Johnson said to me that Susie needed to take what?
Plus fibre.
Okay. So you started taking the plus fibre, and what happened?
So within the three days of being in bedridden for 2 weeks, Adrian used to mix it with a shake, didn't you, for me? Put it in water, juice, that sort of thing. And within 3 days, I were able to take fluids, which after about 4 days, I were out of bed.
She was out of bed, feeling good again.
Feeling more like Susan.
So you did have a period where you didn't believe it, didn't you? You was a bit sceptical.
Yeah, I before I've always been about conventional medicine, that everything conventional medicine is good for you. Not in my case, it was basically killing me.
Okay, so you stopped taking it for a while, didn't you?
I did.
And then what happened?
I stopped all medication that they gave me and I started to feel more like myself.
But then you actually stopped taking the Avini product because you wanted to see if it was that would work, didn't you?
So I thought maybe it's just, you know, it could be, you know, placebo, you know, and no, my problems came back.
So it came back. So then what did you do?
So I started taking the plus fibre again.
And then
it stopped.
So it went away.
So it went away again.
And so we are now in March 2024. And how are you feeling now?
I feel absolutely fabulous,
Mhm.
but I don't miss taking plus fibre.
So we also take another product as well, don't we?
Yeah, we take Cell Defender, which is amazing.
Avini Cell Defender.
Yeah.
So we've been taking that now for about 10 months. Haven't we?
Yeah, amazing.
So we just wanted to share that quick testimonial with you. Thank you for listening. And it's goodbye from Adrian and goodbye from
Susie.
Okay. Well, let me, there we
Well,
go.
She looks wonderful.
What a cute couple. You know, thank you for sharing that. You know, I went to a medical presentation this week and to learn about neuropathy. And when the chiropractor presented, she said $3.2 trillion is spent on medical, you know, in the United States. I mean, in the world. This is in the world, but 75% of 3.2 trillion is spent in the United States. Now, the United States is only made up of 5% of the world's population. So that's just enormous when you think of that. Those numbers, how astounding they are for, you know, the treatments. Not that they're all bad, of course, you know, there's time and place for everything. But here was a woman that dealt with that, and look how she's come so far. I just wanted to see a show of hands, or if you can, physical hand or lower hand. Have you tried the plus fiber? Anyone tried the plus fiber? Let's just see. Okay, so quite a few of you, yeah. I love my plus fiber. I took it to Ireland with my team, and the ones that forgot it were begging me for it, believe me. So if you're traveling, make sure you take your plus fiber with you. If you haven't tried it, you know, go ahead and experiment and try it on your own bodies. And you're missing something if you don't. Chip, are you with us still? want to know if you guys
I'm always with you guys.
I know you are. I want to defer to you a little bit about what she was dealing with, what Susie was dealing with, and the plus fiber and your thoughts on that, please.
I got to meet them in the early days. They came to the event in Dallas, I think. Dallas or Vegas. I think it was Dallas.
Alice.
And yep, in Dallas. And they're quite a striking couple. You wouldn't guess that she'd gone through all that. She's kind of one of those, but guess what? Pretty girls get sick too. And they get the bad kinds of sick, and maybe even more than the others. And some of them, they hurt too. And for them to, interesting thing, they are an extremely entrepreneurial, hardworking couple in England. And so when they found out about Avini, they wanted to get something going. And so they set themselves up in the United States. And I think they've got a pretty good team in Canada already. But those gut issues, you could call Avini the gut company pretty well. Or you could call it the brain company or the bone company or the skin company, right? I mean, anything, whatever it is, the mental health company, because we have ideas that are so foundational. And actually, I had a thought that Christine brought up a little bit ago, talking about Craig. The surgeon they went to, or the neurologist, said we don't know exactly why or what's going on, but we do expect that there's a chance that it'll start regenerating and come back. Well, and I think this is important to me. I'm working on a way of saying this. There's a term called idiopathic this or idiopathic that. And I thought, oh boy, that sounds awful. Well, guess what the word idiopathic means? It means we don't know why. We don't know why this problem is there. Or where do you go if there's a problem and you don't know what it is? You don't know the cause of it. To me, that's why Avini is so important, because you go to the bottom line, the common denominator, the foundation of health, and you just start doing right things. And oftentimes you may never know, what was wrong or why they got better. But I guess if somebody gets better using Cell Defender, there must have been something in them that was hurting them, and now it's leaving, right? If somebody gets better using Nano, well, there might have been something alive in them that was harming them, and now you're not a good host for that anymore, and now you're doing better. If you all of a sudden get better, and one of the things you're using is plus fiber, well, maybe you did have, like she did, these horrible gut issues. She pretty, boldly said, my liver making bile, going to my gallbladder, got plugged up, couldn't get it into my digestive system, goes into the top of the duodenum, then down in the colon. I've got every kind of gut problem and bathroom problem you could imagine. Well, it's obviously she has a certain image she likes to project. Well, it doesn't project well if you got bathroom problems. And so she was so relieved. I mean, think how grateful you would be. And they kept working. They tried to work right through it. How many, I know Craig's still going to work, right?
Oh yeah.
Craig's hurt, he's still going to work. I mean, how many of you are working through something and just taking it on the chin and think that's one more thing I got to put up with the rest of my life? But now all of a sudden, you start getting a little better and a little bit better yet. And like Brianna, stay at home, broke mother of four, you think you're having one more child and it turns out to be twins, and then you get sick and lose your hair. And then that sucks all the money out of the family. And now all of a sudden she's got income. I think she's probably a sapphire. So you have an idea what that means to that family. And her husband got hurt in a wreck too. That it seems so common sense to do this. It's just a right thing. It's the power of a right thing that very few people know about. And so because not many people, I'll tell you what, because it's so hard to believe there's an opportunity with it. If it was easy to believe, you could just, put a sign on a shelf and everybody'd go get it. But it takes us. Like Rick says, I'd rather have you guys behind my product than a shelf under it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
well said. Well said. Yeah, that's right. What he said is that, so many of those products started out in this type of marketing. So I had a long conversation with somebody yesterday that's so against, I'll use the word direct sales and network marketing. And I just nipped that in the butt right from the beginning with the story of what Rick shared with us about how do you explain something, it can't explain itself on the shelf.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we're what, 9,000 distributors possibly? Do we hit 10,000 yet, Chip?
Well,
I haven't heard 10 yet. I
Okay.
think
How
we're
many
someplace
are-
between 8 and 9 maybe.
okay.
So not very many people.
Oof.
And there were 13 million people in New York City today. Believe me, bumper to bumper. It's only 11 miles long. It took us almost 2 hours to get from the tunnel to the east side. Just unbelievable amount of people there, and that's all I could think. They all need Avini. All these people need Avini.
Was that the breast cancer march? It's about the time of year that happens. Or
No,
what was
this is normal day.
normal?
Normal day in the city, congestion that you can't imagine, bumper to bumper to bumper, no place to park. $28 to park for less than an hour. So, but people everywhere, like ants. It was just amazing. And I thought, this is what I thought to myself. How many people know about Avini? And
Yeah.
I know, Anika, there's a couple of us New Yorkers on this call tonight. So if you have friends in New York, please let us know. We'll help you spread the word.
Mhm.
So,
The beautiful thing is that we don't want people buying at retail. We want them to maybe buy a bottle and try it at retail and then decide which pack they want to buy to purchase to become a wholesale customer. And then it's like sharing a restaurant, it's like, or sharing an energy healer. We want you all to do what you do and do best and just share it. And then, wow, someday you just might look in there and say, oh, I think I want to share this with somebody else. And then you can get a check.
how many,
Just because
everybody do their taxes? Tax season's upon us. So
No.
I heard, yeah, it's upon us, just a couple weeks away, but it's a good thing, right, Carol? I heard you, Carol, the other day. Anybody have any questions or you want to add? We got like a light night tonight from the standpoint, we don't have, full live speaker. We got awesome people here in the house. So if you want to raise your hand, if you want to make a comment, you want to
I have
share.
a comment.
Okay, and I see Eddie, you're next
And
too.
Ed wanted to.
Priscilla, hey Priscilla, all the way from Colorado.
Hey. So, on the line of the taxes. So I signed up my brother-in-law and he's using the products, and he was over last weekend and he was just talking about his taxes and, oh my gosh, he owes like, $7,000, minus the child, all this stuff. And I'm like, sounds like you need a home-based business. And he had, he's set up for it, but he's not doing it. I'm like, he's like, well, what do I gotta do? I'm like, you do some business activities, you record your expenses, but then, then you don't have that huge tax bill because you have that home-based business. So I think that's a huge pull for a lot of people, right? Because they
Yeah.
want to save money in their taxes, and now they have a side gig, where they're saving people's lives. I mean, it's great.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Eddie, you wanted to comment?
Yeah,
EQ?
just I went out Tuesday. I do some different things, real estate related and appraising. And I went out and I was going to my first appraisal, and I said, Lord, just bring me some people that I don't know and hadn't talked to yet today. Surprise me. And so I went to my first appraisal, and it was a lady that I had worked with only one time, and that was like 6 months ago. Her name's Olga. And after we got done, I was on the porch, she got done, and I was locking the door, and I said, and I had my card, and I said, I need to tell you about something. I don't even know if you would have any interest or if you're into holistic or natural healing. And she said, oh my God, I have something called zeolite. And I'm like, oh God, okay, thank you. So then I said, okay, what do you have? And it was a powder form. And I said, you know, we went, long story short, 30 minutes on the porch there. And then she signed up as a customer last night. She wants to try it and maybe get the activation pack, kind of like what Hannah was saying, right? And then I promise you, Christine, I've told her a story that I've done this one time before, and I did it again, Christine. I was getting gas Tuesday night, and I was at the pump, and I swear to God, there was a lady over, an older lady doing the thing on, you know, your windshield, and I got done and I went to leave, and it was jammed up, so I had to pull back around to get back in line. And I just looked at her and she looked at me and I said, okay. And I got out. And I promise you, for 45 minutes, I was talking to that woman and I put Plus Relief on her bulging disc on her back. She let me do it. I said, well, pull your hair up. And now I talked to her the night after. She's watched the videos, and her son is a deputy sheriff in St. Augustine. And she said he's got major back issues, but I got to get myself worked out first. Shoulder issue, bulging disc. And so she wants to get 2 or 3 of the products. And I went to make the order with her tonight, but she was tired. And so she said tomorrow at 2. So that was just, I don't know why. And I said, listen, I'm not a weird guy. And I can imagine the people walking around, and I'm putting, I had it in my car, like Christine, I've got my what do you call it? My Battle Blue
A
bag.
battle bag.
Yeah, I've got my Battle Blue bag and everything's in it. And I said, wait a minute. And I put it on her back, and that we parted ways. But I said, would you mind if I called you? And then I told her, before we talk tomorrow, I'm going to send you 2 quick videos from the app. All I want you to do is understand Cell Defender and Plus Relief. That's the 2 things we'll focus on for now. That's a conduit. And then I said, watch them before we talk. And sure enough, when I called her, I called her right after I saw that she watched the videos, because we can see when they watch them. And she was educated. Now we could talk and be on the same page. So that now tomorrow will be a matter of just making the order. So that was, I don't know, Christine, I told you that it did happen one time before, and it has happened again.
Well, the moral of that story is when you pump gas, you know, look around. Eddie can talk to a rock. He can talk to everybody, and that's a skill set. I always praise him on that skill set that he has, because he can make a stranger feel comfortable, and before you know it, he's rubbing something on their body. And the sheriff's not coming to arrest you. So that's
I know, I worried about him for a minute. Yeah.
yeah, but you know, God bless you, Eddie, for not shy to share. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
I
Well,
love
it was kind of like I was led to talk to her. I'm like, okay, you know, if I circle back one more time, I know it's for sure. And I was just sitting there and I just said, okay, you know, and anyway, but she's a sweetheart, sweet lady. And she trusted me. And I said, you just have to trust me for now. And she does. And she did. So, yeah. So it was worthwhile.
Okay, so who has a story that can beat that? Anyone?
Ed, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyone else? Comment?
I love, Ed, that you actually said, okay, send me somebody. You asked
Oh,
for
I
it.
did.
You
I
asked
asked
for
her.
it.
I promise you, I said 2 or 3 people today, and it was Olga and Georgia.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the way it happened.
Ed actually has a story that'll beat his own story, but he's not ready to tell it yet.
I know that story. I heard that story, but I'm not telling it.
Not quite
You can
yet.
see
Yeah,
it coming, though. You can see it coming.
yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
Coming.
So I just wanted to step back. I was sharing, I went to that seminar with the chiropractor presenting, and she shared about the amount of people that struggle with neuropathy. And I didn't know, neuropathy is something that's very common in older people, and it's so debilitating. Now, I don't know, I guess we'll put it out there and we'll start to see as we share with people that have numbing, tingling neuropathy in their hands and their feet. But how many awful things happen when that starts to happen to a human, an older person, losing their balance because of neuropathy. They can't feel their feet. She told a story about a woman who was coming to her office, and because she had neuropathy in her feet, she couldn't feel the gas pedal. and she plowed through the front of the office. She came crashing through the window. But only 30% of people with neuropathy is caused by diabetes. And I didn't, that's something I didn't know. There's a lot of other reasons. And about 6 weeks ago, one of Chip's friends, I think Shu, right? You introduced us to Shu, and Shu shared some stuff about this. And she also brought this to light that, so many people that were exposed to Agent Orange. She told a story because they washed the floors with Agent Orange, and it was literally going through their boots as they were washing the floors. And so again, a major problem with neuropathy. So this week, just keep your ears out and know that someone could be walking right by you, people that are, again, losing their balance, struggling with that. And they do prescribe meds. And she talked about some of the medications, but what a lot of those medications do, I mean, we're dealing with it in our own life here with Craig, but they kind of shut down the pain receptors from the standpoint of dulling it. So shuts off a lot of other things, not like the plus relief. That's why I love that plus relief so much, because the peptides in that plus relief don't do the things that those meds that a lot of these patients are having to take. So I just wanted to share that little bit, and we'll open it up again if anybody has anything they want to share.
Well, I have a new way to help understand plus relief if you guys would enjoy it. It just takes a second. I think most everybody here maybe is reluctant to use a microwave oven, but I bet you at one time in your life, you've looked through the window on a microwave at something cooking inside, and you maybe wondered, why can I see it, but the radiation that's cooking it isn't coming out and burning my eyes? Have you ever wondered about that?
Mm.
That window on that microwave oven works a lot like your plus relief product does.
Mm.
It lets one wavelength through, but holds the other wavelength back because of the size of the screen. In the case of our product, the screen is the receptors on the receiving side of the synapse. And the thing that makes it the right size is the presence of the peptide that's in your plus relief product.
Yeah.
So that the useful message comes through clear, even clearer, because the static and the misery are taken out of it, or they're taken down in amplitude. Does that help you understand and maybe give you a way to explain that product?
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're one of the
For
some
sure.
of the first to know. It's just an idea, and I thought, okay, that's a pretty good example of that. And I think people can, and most everybody has seen that. And if you can have direct visual evidence of something, then oftentimes people can say, oh, yeah, apparently that works. I mean, every microwave you can see into, and if you look close, there's a screen on the window.
Mhm.
And we just took that idea and we can use it in order to sort the messages coming down a nerve. They're electrical when they come down the nerve, but they're chemical when they go through the chemical switches. And that's our opportunity to change it. So we just take the high amplitude message of misery and either take it out or bring it down to size. So maybe you understand that that's a pretty good little example that helps you understand that, I hope.
Yeah. That's
Thank you,
awesome.
Chip. That's great.
Yeah.
I like the way you put things. You always explain things in an easy fashion, so we appreciate that. Okay, Suzanne, we got a few more minutes, and I just want to encourage all of you to get on the 9 o'clock call tonight. Go down to the chat and grab the number if you haven't done that already. It's 9 o'clock Eastern time. You want to be sure to listen to that. That's Lisa Stowers, Diamond. She's going to be interviewed, and she's going to talk about her professional bodybuilding, and Avini together. Paul, you may have heard Paul last week. He did the comp plan. If you haven't listened to that, he did an astounding job. So make sure you grab that number down in the chat before we close. But before we close, I want to give Suzanne an opportunity to talk. We always love to hear from author Suzanne, and she knows this topic very well. Suzanne, join us.
Alan also has his hand up.
Okay. Good, Suzanne.
I just wanted to mention it's good to reflect or to share with people. Every problem that people say they have is a label given them. For example, arthritis. Arth is joint, itis inflammation, but it's not addressing the cause. And that's what we've been acknowledging. So when we realize the abundance of toxins impacting everybody, that's always going to be a factor in whatever the problem is, and it can affect different parts of the body. So it's so extremely important with the Cell Defender and the other products that can make a major difference in that person's existence and problems. So that's basically to realize we're given a label or a name, but it's not saying the cause or addressing the cause.
Right. Yes.
Very, very true. Thank you, Suzanne, for pointing that out. Yeah, and just think of Brianna earlier talked about, 4 kids in brain fog. So, she got to the root of it, and the Cell Defender helped her to kind of get back on with clarity. So thank you for sharing that. Alan, where are you? Where do we? Oh, there you are.
I'm right here. Mine's real quick. We mentioned neuropathy a while ago, and I think nanosilver was mentioned there. And I've heard this before, but please forgive me. I'm a little old and forgetful. How is nanosilver administered to help neuropathy? Is it ingested or is it sprayed?
Well, that probably wouldn't be my first product for that unless I thought there was a living pathogen or parasite or pandemic that was causing it. I would probably look, she said about 30% of it comes from people with sugar problems. And so that leads you towards Plus Relief, Cell Defender. Those would be probably my first 2. The other one that's kind of interesting, because you can sometimes begin to create feeling where there was none. I think everybody thinks that Plus Relief has to be if you're hurt, and they think, well, why would you do that if you're not feeling anything? I did notice a minute ago, Pat Tracy's on with us. She's super smart about a whole bunch of things. I bet that's one of them. What do you think about Pat? Would you mind saying something?
Sure. And what in regard to the
Well, neuropathy or discomfort, and how to approach it with Avini?
actually neuropathy, I had of unknown origin in at the bottom of my foot. And I used the pain relief or the Plus Relief product because of the fact that it felt good because of the massaging of my foot. And it also took away the numbness and brought my foot back to life about 90% after the first time or 2 I used it.
Wow.
Now, as far as the others, Chip, or you got something on your mind? What are you?
Well, I actually, what I
enough.
got on my mind is you're here, and I kind of introduced you and Christine from afar.
Right.
I'd like everybody to know a little bit about who Pat Tracy is, where you come from. Could you do just a little bit about who's Pat and why Avini?
Pat was a breaker of horses until one broke me, and caused a horrible knee issue that nobody across the country could fix, unfortunately. And in the interim of trying to break horses and trying to get my knee fixed, I blew out the other knee and I blew out my other shoulder and some other issues. And so I was pretty beat up. As a kid growing up, I think I told Chip there wasn't a challenge that I wouldn't accept. And I'm still kind of that way. Until somebody mentioned to me about the Avini product, actually the Cell Defender is all there was at the time, because this was like over 3 years ago. And I thought, okay, one more thing. Let's just give it a whirl and see, because I was on, at the time, had been on heavy narcotics for like over 30 years for the discomfort. I mean, I was between my shoulders and some other chest surgeries I've had and my other knee. I was a beat up human, and I used this to function with. I mean, I was still going to college and playing poker tournaments and competitively. So it wasn't affecting my brain as much as you think it was. It was just enabling me to function. But the drops was a fantastic thought of, wow, how could a drop do this? It would be awesome. Within 5 days of taking the Cell Defender, I was relieved of a good 90 to 95% of the pain I was in.
Mm.
Longer on any pain medication. It was just amazing. And from there, it only got better with the Cell Defender. And I mean, with the Nano Silver, that was another story in itself. It's just, these products just are simply amazing, as we all have learned. But don't give up. A lot of the people turn strictly to the Plus Relief, I've found, when they're in discomfort. But we didn't have the Plus Relief around when I got rid of my discomfort. So don't sell the tip of the spear short with our Cell Defender.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's good to
Because,
know.
you know, it's so much as, and I'm sure a lot of mine was caused by inflammation, and boy, it just boom, kicked the immune system in gear and got rid of the inflammation or whatever was causing it. And I'm a different person now because of it.
You know, several people on the call are national leaders in their area of life, and you are too. I don't know what all, but could you say some of the things that you do as counseling or outreach?
I work with the Amputee Coalition of America as a support person. I had founded my own support group in the city of Houston for about 17 years. I guess we functioned as a group. And pardon me, excuse me. And I worked with the Alzheimer's Association as well, taking on through their training and being a group leader for probably 15 years. Wow. And there's always something. I volunteered at the hospital for 17 years as a patient advocate. So there's always something going on that you can get involved with. And now I'm kind of settled down a bit to being board of or chairman of the board of a senior life group here in the city of Bel Air, which is a little city inside of Houston. So it's a few million people I can probably touch up in the city of Houston and around, but I need to capture Bel Air first. But that's and I did work. I know what Chip's probably referring to in the under the auspice of the counseling. I was working with the veterans and with their amputee on they weren't Zoom calls back then because they didn't have Zoom calls back then, but they were conference calls where I'd get on with the therapists in San Antonio, and we'd discuss the problems of amputees and how you could better make their life better. So that's just all. I'm kind of involved with a lot of different things.
So a bunch of people on this call are saying, oh, she's like me, because there's a whole bunch of people that are leaders in their area. Thank you, Pat. I wanted them to get to know you a little bit. Thank you for taking a minute. So
Sure.
Back to you, Christine. Sorry about that.
You beat me to it because Chip wanted to introduce us this week, and I just had a crazy week that got away from me with those text deadlines. But thank you, Pat, for joining us. You're a special person. He shared a lot with me, and thank you for being, being a leader in those fields that you're doing. I worked with a lot of amputees and putting quadriplegics up on horses, and we'd get those quadriplegics up on a horse and give them their arms and legs back and the ability to walk. So, you're doing the same thing. And I just thrilled, like Chip says, what a great group of people here tonight. Everybody's special in their own way and called to do this. So I want to thank you for that. It's 8:25. Wow, we went over, but that's okay. We try to keep it within 45 minutes, but it's great because we wanted to hear of all the genuine stories and the love that's shared here. So, but next week, I want you to think about what you want to share also, okay? We're going to talk a little bit about leaky gut a little bit next week too. So if you know a client that has leaky gut and they're struggling with that, bring them to the call next Thursday night, okay? Also, if they're dealing with, you know, that what we talked about a little bit tonight is that brain fog, you know, who doesn't sometimes have brain fog? But going through the Lincoln Tunnel today in traffic, I think I might have a little brain fog. So thank you for being here and jump on that call, okay? 9 o'clock. Let's all get on that call and support them and live and learn and be with Avini and bring your Avini vibes forward.
Yeah. Hey, Christine, can I
Yes.
just say something? Because
Sure.
I am definitely using this as one of my sales tools to open up my area, the Avini vibes. So when I'm sharing this with anybody that's listening to this and is wanting to learn about our products, please come join us. It's an open invitation to come join us and ask your questions, and we will take you on our journey.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Hannah. Absolutely. Yeah, grab the number in the chat. That's the number for the one tap Zoom at 9 o'clock. Go ahead and grab this. And Carol, thank you for getting those videos up and working. And this will, Carol always does, records this and puts it up in the YouTube on the Google. Chip, thank you. Thanks for being here.
I
Everyone.
got on after the phone number, so it's not in my,
Oh,
It's not
maybe
in my
somebody
chat
can give it
either.
to me.
yes, Christine, you might want to just copy and paste it and put it back in one more time so that
Okay.
anybody that came after, because if they come later, they don't get it.
Okay, let me drop it in the chat right now. That's
Right now.
It's late,
And
it's not
you.
there.
And then you guys can copy and paste it somewhere.
Yeah,
Good,
that's the
thank you.
Zoom, the Zoom meeting number, and there's a one tap mobile that you can just call in and it might ask for that code. So get your phone out and take a picture of that and you'll have it and we'll be on the call tonight at 9 o'clock and we're all gonna learn even more. God bless you.
Bye, everyone.
Amen.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night.
I'm gonna leave this up
Everybody.
for a second so you can get the information. Okay.
Okay.
I'm still not seeing.
Is that the same Zoom link we are on now, Christine?
No,
No.
different Zoom link.
Well, it's
very-
not in the chat. It's not in my chat.
Not in the chat.
No.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna, because I just see what Christine did, copy. I'm gonna send it to everybody. Hold on one second. Here we go.
Yeah, it's in the chat, but it only went
If
to
you're in
It
the
only went to
WhatsApp
me.
inner circle, it's there as
There
well.
you go. There you go, guys. Can everybody see it
Yeah,
now?
thank you.
Take a picture.
Absolutely. Take a picture of
Take a
it so that you
picture.
have it. Yeah.
All right, see you soon. See you at
Thank
9.
you.
Call everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Good
you.
night.
All right.
It's been
Thank
real.
you.
Bye.